Let's go ahead and break down this main card. And opening up the UFC Vegas 93 main card, we have Josh Quinlan taking on Adam Fugitt. Josh Quinlan 6-2 in the entirety of his career, 2-1 in his last 5. He is riding a 2-fight skid. Adam Fugitt 9-4 in his career, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off a year away and a submission loss. Adam Fugitt is a forward pressure wrestler. That is his style. He's got a very loose boxing style. He'll bounce around on his toes. He's got a high guard, and then he will lunge in for those takedowns. He is incredibly strong. And even when he doesn't have the best takedown entry, he can pick you up and slam you down. He will work through those takedowns. Even though he does have this high guard, it's not tight. And straight punches get right through somewhat easily. He is very tough. He's very hard to put away, but he does get cracked and he does get dropped. He's coming off that one-sided loss to Mike Malott. He's taking on Josh Quinlan. Josh Quinlan's a dangerous striker with very real power. He has 2 wins in the UFC. He knocked out both of his opponents. One of those wins, though, was on the Contender Series, and that was ruled a no contest because of USADA issues. He isn't just a striker. He does have a BJJ brown belt. He competes in grappling competitions. Very dangerous guy. But he is on a bit of a skid, with his most recent loss being a TKO to Danny Barlow in a dogfight. And this should be a fight where we're going to find out how good Josh is or is not. At one point, he was a very big prospect. And then the USADA issue came about, and now a couple of losses. I'm not saying those are directly related, but logic would tell you that they are. And while Fugitt doesn't really have a ton of success in the UFC, his losses are quality. I don't think this matchup favors Quinlan, though. Or Fugitt, though. I do think this is a good matchup for Quinlan. Because while Fugitt can close the distance and get the takedowns, he does have that high guard that you can get through. And Josh Quinlan is a good striker. He is a powerful striker. And we saw in his last fight with Danny Barlow that he can be a dog. Yes, it was a TKO, but he didn't quit. He moved forward. He got into a dogfight. He got beat up. He got smacked around. And he continued to move forward and fight. This should be an even type fight, and the odds just do continue to bounce around. But I do think Josh Quinlan can defend a few key takedowns, land the more meaningful shots, and win this fight. Not to mention a year away, and Vegas hates wrestlers. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, this is probably a close fight. It's probably a 50-50 fight. I don't really love the striking from Adam Fugitt. I mean, I think it's kind of lackadaisical. His striking defense isn't great. Josh is showing a really nice little counter left that he can throw and land on people, especially people that are a little bit more stiff like Adam. I mean, as far as the striking goes, this is not Trey Waters. This is not Danny Barlow. I mean, this is a major step down in competition. I think you mentioned that he's a brown belt. He's actually a black belt, and I wouldn't be surprised if he used that here. I mean, he's coming off of a TKO loss. He's lost some striking. You're going to see Adam kind of force the wrestling. Josh Quinlan, I think his base really is jiu-jitsu. I think he's more like a jiu-jitsu gym. So if he forced that wrestling, we might be able to see some of the scrambling abilities from a guy like Josh Quinlan. But even if he keeps on the feet, I think he's probably going to be the better striker here. Obviously, it's a hard guy to trust. Ever since the people mentioned the USADA stuff, he hasn't looked kind of the same, don't have the same pop to those shots. But he's going to be my pick, but I'm not betting it.
Yeah, I mean, it is tricky because these are the spots where you can make some very solid bets, meaning,
Quinlan
minus
by
120.
Sub plus 1,800.
Damn. That is quite high, but I guess they assume, Adam Fugitt can get the takedowns, elbows in, and not get submitted. Plus, Josh is, at least in the octagon, what we've seen, a bit of a striker. I do think Josh wins this fight. I do completely understand the hesitation, but I think I also put a little more credence into layoffs. A year layoff after getting submitted, neither one of these guys have an entire wealth of fights in their belt. 9-4, 6-2. It's actually kind of funny that on a UFC main card, the pinnacle of this sport, these fighters have just a handful of fights each. It's honestly kind of crazy. You can't get to this level of any other sport with barely having any actual professional experience. But apparently here you can.
NBA players, they draft high schoolers a lot.
But they still have been playing basketball since they were 4 years old.
You don't think these people guys have been training more than 8 fights?
I bet Josh Quinlan, how old is he? 31. I bet he started thinking about competing and doing stuff at 20.
He's got a black belt. So he's probably been doing that for a long time.
Yeah, 10 years. You can get a black belt in 10 years. I didn't, but better men have. $8,300 in DraftKings for Josh Quinlan. $7,900 in DraftKings for Adam Fugitt. Adam might be the better DraftKings play if you think he gets the takedowns because, as we mentioned, 5 points per takedown, a little bit of control time there. If you think Josh Quinlan can finish this fight, $8,300, that may be worth it as well. So pick your side. One of these gentlemen should likely be in your lineup. If it's a back-and-forth war, you can get some good points out of the winner. If it's a one-sided dog walk, you'll get some points out of that winner. So pick your side here. I am on the Josh Quinlan side. I likely would consider that money at $8,300. You can unlock the picks, the bets, the round line leans, and everything else for only $10 an entire month. Just go to WeWantPicks.com and click Become a Member.